How often do you cook various international cuisines apart from cooking Indian? I love cooking international food, and Greek is one of my favorites. Although you don't find too many vegetarian options in Greek food, the Greek Vegetarian Moussaka, which I'm going to show you today, is one of my favorites at home, and children love it too. So without wasting any time, let's dive right in and start cooking the Greek Moussaka. Now, to begin making the eggplant vegetarian moussaka, I've sliced some eggplants over here and then sprinkled some salt over it. We have to grill these eggplants on the tawa. You can also bake them. So essentially cook the eggplants on the tawa until it's soft and browned. So let's begin. Make sure that the pan is greased well. I'm going to drizzle some oil on the pan and place the eggplants over the oil. Drizzle some more oil over the eggplant so it gets roasted well and it becomes soft. Going to cover the pan with a lid and allow the eggplants to steam in the heat, and keep flipping and turning it over while you're cooking the eggplant so it becomes soft. The roasting the eggplants always take about 10 to 15 minutes based on the quality of the eggplant you have. This took about 7 to 10 minutes. The eggplants were soft when I cut them. And notice how they've beautifully browned and they've softened as well. So when you take a bite of this eggplant, it should be nice and soft and moist. It should not be dry and chewy. So just make sure of that. Once this is done, just going to remove them and put it on the plate, and we'll go ahead to prepare the sauces for the moussaka. So instead of the classic tomato sauce that goes into making the moussaka, I'm going to be making a mushroom sauce that's going to have tomatoes as well, but buttered mushrooms along with salt and black pepper. So to begin, I'm going to chop in some garlic for the sauce. Finely chop the garlic. You can also grate it. And I have some button mushrooms here with me, and I'm going to roughly chop them. And if you like a bigger chunk of pieces of mushroom in your moussaka, go ahead and chop it in big chunks. And it's purely your choice. So we'll just roughly chop the mushrooms and we'll cook the sauce. Next step, to proceed to cooking the sauce, the mushroom sauce, I'm going to drizzle some oil into the pan and add in the chopped garlic and the mushrooms into it. While the mushroom's heating up, I'm going to pound some black pepper, and I like to keep the black pepper a little chunky, and so it adds to the crunch and the punch of the moussaka. Add the black pepper in, some salt. We'll stir the mushrooms until it gives out water and it becomes soft and it's cooked. Mushrooms don't take too long to cook. Within a couple of minutes, you'll notice that the mushrooms start becoming soft, and they also give out a lot of water. And if it does give water, don't fret. It's absolutely okay. It adds to the sauce for the moussaka. We'll just give it a stir, and I can already see the mushrooms turning soft. Great flavors coming in. It's just perfect. Now that the mushrooms have softened a bit, I'm going to add in the freshly pureed tomatoes. I actually blanched the tomatoes, took the skin off, and then pureed it in the mixer. So what happens is you have sort of a pre-cooked tomato, and it works perfect for sauces. Give it a stir. It's smelling beautiful. Fantastic. So while this is boiling, I'm going to add in some herbs. You can add either coriander or parsley to the moussaka. I have some fresh parsley here, and I'm going to cut it in and chop them in. And add it into the sauce. Fantastic. Herbs add bring freshness to the sauces, and it just makes the sauce come alive. sauce is smelling great, and you know what? It took less than 5 minutes to make this sauce. Imagine how quickly you can make this dinner if you were to go at this rate. Our next step is to make the bechamel sauce. So let's proceed to do that. To make the bechamel sauce, I'm going to be adding a twist to the sauce. It's not the way you make it traditionally. So first I'm going to be melting some butter and adding the flour into the butter. We'll roast the flour well in the butter until the butter melts and you get a roasted aroma of the flour. Okay. Perfect. Once the butter is melted and the flour is well combined into the butter, I'm going to add in some milk and keep stirring it until the sauce thickens up and there are no lumps in the sauce. Okay, I'll sprinkle some salt and I'm going to pound in some black pepper. Add in the black pepper and keep stirring it until the sauce becomes thick and lump-free. Well, this is a basic bechamel sauce that's made with regular milk and flour, and I've used whole wheat flour and not an all-purpose flour that is typically used. You can also use a variety of millet flours like ragi or bajra to make this bechamel sauce, and the taste can get a little nutty. And now I'm going to add in the cream cheese, and that's here. So this cream cheese is also flavored with pepper. And you know, the cheese spreads that you use to put it over toast, the same cream cheese. And you can use flavored cream cheeses like jalapeno or black pepper or Mexican spicy cheese or whatever. So it adds a good flavor to the bechamel sauce. So that's it. The sauce is thickened up. It looks a little too thick to me, so what I'm going to do is to add some water into the sauce to loosen it up. You can also add some milk. I'm adding water because I added some cream cheese, it's already thick. Pick up some water, add it in. Notice the sauce has no lumps. Make sure you keep stirring it in. It's perfect. Once the water gets well incorporated, we'll give it a brisk boil and the bechamel sauce will be done. Since we're making in small quantities, we have two different sauces. We're not making in too much of a quantity. The sauces get cooked really quickly. Perfect. I can smell the cream cheese there. Remember, when you add cream cheese, the cream cheese also has some salt in it. So when you add salt or pepper, make sure that you add it with caution, because then your sauce can get too salty and you might not necessarily like it. Okay, great. Gonna give it a quick taste. Perfect. The flour's cooked as well and it's got the perfect thickness and the sauce is ready. And now the next step is to assemble the moussaka. So let's just do that. So now we're ready to assemble our moussaka. So simple. So first, if you have like a sticky pan, then make sure that you grease it with butter. I have a nice smooth one, it's not going to stick. I usually like to sprinkle some breadcrumbs at the bottom, because when you do that, the breadcrumbs absorbs the excess sauces and the moussaka sets really well. So that's a simple trick so that your moussaka is not saucy when you cut it out. And layer, place the roasted eggplants at the bottom. Perfect. I'm gonna add in the sauce. Spread it in evenly. Perfect. Completely cheesy. Looks so good. Okay, great. Next step is to layer it with another set of eggplants. You can use a lot of different vegetables to make moussaka, like zucchini. You can grill it. You can add some roasted vegetables, but eggplant is a classic favorite. And then finally the mushroom sauce on the top. So adding the mushrooms on the top gives it great crunch, texture, and it's chunky and adds to the flavor of the moussaka as well. And we have flavored with lots of parsley, so it's going to taste great. And finally, the one thing we cannot miss in the moussaka is the cheese on the top. I'm going to add in some cheese. You can add any local cheese that is available in the market that melts, and this is a cheddar cheese that is processed, and it's available everywhere. All you have to do is to pack it up with cheese on the top, and we'll bake it in the oven that's preheated at 180 degrees centigrade until cheese melts, because all the ingredients inside are cooked, so until the cheese melts and the moussaka sets well. It's about 20 to 25 minutes. Notice that the moussaka is perfectly baked, the cheese is melted, and that's exactly that you want. And it doesn't look, it jiggles, it doesn't jiggle, but it's still moist and perfect. So I'm going to cut it and we'll serve it into our plate, and you can serve it for dinner along with some crusted bread, and that's it. Your weeknight dinner will be ready in less than 30 minutes. I hope you enjoyed watching the video of how to make the classic vegetarian moussaka. It's a Greek dish, it's a new cuisine that you can try for your weeknight dinner, and it takes less than 30 minutes to make. Do give it a try. When you do, share your feedback in the comments below, and I'd love to hear back from you. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I'm going to be churning out new recipes every week. Until then, until next time, happy cooking and healthy eating.